morning and welcome to the Yarn Declutter intro. I hadn't planned this, and then Nick reminded me that he's got an optician's appointment this morning. So he's gone out, and I thought, let's just do this. Let's do this. So if you're watching this on the replay, then do stick a comment in the comments, hashtag replay or something, and let me know where you are. I know some of you won't be able to make it live, but if you are here live, it's great to see you. Let me know in the chat where you are, what you're doing, what you got on your needles. Hi, Naisha. Lovely to see you. Anyone who's here, love to know what you're up to. Saturday morning. Are you knitting? You got Netflix on, but now you've turned over to YouTube? Let me know. So it's been a quiet morning here. Like I said, I was just organising some stuff to get going with the yarn declutter. It's exciting. It's April. It's time for a yarn declutter. So I thought, let's get to it. So there you go. So we are decluttering yarn all the way through April. Perfect time for it, isn't it? Spring. We've got lots of people here. Let me see. Naisha is studying for an exam. Good for you. Yes. Karen is from Baltimore. Hi, Karen. That's a long way away, and I bet it's early with you as well. Becca is in Ireland. She's knitting a chevron blanket. Oh, how lovely. I tell you what, it's cold this weekend. I bet we could all do with some chevron blankets. Dominique is in Belgium. Hi, Dominique. Nice to see you. Now, we've got some tasks to start off with. If you're all signed up for the yarn declutter, then you possibly would have done these tasks last week, and you would have had the first week's email this morning. I'm going to go over all the intro tasks just to see how you're getting on, and then on Tuesday we'll start talking about the first week's tasks, because a lot of people have got a lot of stash and the need to clear it out. Go through it, find out where it all is. The other thing is, if you're a beginner knitter, and guess what, you haven't got that much yarn yet, this is the perfect thing for you, because you can go through this and say, what do I want? What do I know I like knitting with? Where do I want to store it? And from the offset, from the beginner knitting stage, you can have a tidy yarn collection. That will mind blown. You know, that just imagine it. It's like having your clothes organized from the age of 3, and suddenly for the whole of your life you have organized closet. That's what we need as knitters. We need to know where our yarn is, so we knit with it. We need to know what yarn we like knitting with. You know, it's just has to be here. Just has to be something that we organize and set ourselves that goal of saying, yes, I want an organized yarn stash, and I want to knit with the yarn that I've got. We buy it and we don't use it. It's just one thing that knitters and crocheters do as well. So Tracy is in London, trying to get my knitting mojo back. Going through your yarn and realizing how much you love it will really, really help. Even if you haven't got much on your needles, it will really help. Dominique, yes, this video will be available later. If we're doing a live on YouTube, it is just live later too. That's just one of the things. So I'm not going to delete it. I'm not going to say it's private. You can come back onto YouTube and watch it. What I'm also doing is sticking it all on my Academy website, so you can see everything all in one place. I have to pay for the website, so I'm just going to say, can you give me £5 to have everything in one place, and you'll have access to it for the next 12 months, and it will be all of the worksheets, all of the text that comes in the emails, all of the videos, and it will just mean you've got it all in one place and it's easier to find. These videos will be here, the worksheets will come through your email, but if it's all in one place, if that's what you'd rather do, then that's there for you if you'd like to do it that way. The video will definitely be uploaded there too. So are you ready? Are you ready for your first tasks? Let me know. I'm excited about this. Yeah. Dominique has to go. Oh, volunteering at a testing centre for COVID. Fabulous. Thank you, volunteers. thank you so, so much. You have saved the year, really, having people there willing and able and just volunteering and getting out there. Well, I know a lot of people can't because I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to get out there, do things, and move around like I used to, simply because of the hazards that we've had in the last year. So thank you so much, Dominic. That's really so helpful. Karen is knitting cozy socks with worsted weight yarn. Ah, lovely. Yes. Oh, cozy socks. Yes. Hi, Kim. Lovely to see you. You're always one of my first commenters on all my videos every Tuesday. Love you. Thank you. And yes, in case you're wondering, I think every week this month, we won't just have the lives on Tuesday, we will also have set up pre-recorded videos as usual. Fingers crossed it will all work out. There might be one week when we just have a live instead of a pre-recorded video at 9:30. You know, I know you won't mind, but I'm planning to have them recorded and ready to go out at 9:30 on Tuesdays as per usual. So, okay, what's the first thing we do with a declutter? We have to say, I need the declutter. That's the first thing. It's just accepting it and saying, I'm in. Yeah, okay, I'm ready. And that is mindset. It's so much of it. It's like giving up chocolate for Lent. It's like, can I? Can I? I'm not sure I can. It's yes, I can. And I'm in. And that's mindset. It's just the commitment to it and saying, yes, all right, I'm with you. So just remember that the essence of decluttering is that it's just saying I'm ready for it. And then we move on to the practical tasks. I've got some practical tasks for you today, so don't worry, we're not just going to talk about woo mind stuff. So just remember, Marie Kondo always says what sparks joy. That can really help. It's a brilliant way of saying it. And if you go through your knitting yarn in a couple of weeks' time, when we really, really get started with making decisions, you'll be going, actually, I know I want to knit with that, and I don't want to knit with that. And it will be so much easier. It will feel easier. So go for what you love, what sparks joy. Just feel that and just get used to saying it and thinking it as we go through the first tasks. So obviously, if you signed up, you will have had the first worksheet this morning. And I think I've got it here. I'm not sure. It's here somewhere. Here we are. So I've got so many knitting worksheets here. Look at them all for all the different courses. So the first tasks are to go through some of these questions on here. There we are. That's the first one. My last knitting projects. What did you knit last? Your last 5 knitting projects. And why is this important? Well, it will give you a good idea of the yarn that you knitted with, the items that you knitted, and that can be helpful when you say, I've got 5 balls of this yarn, but the last 5 projects I knitted only used half a ball. Do you really want to knit 10 of those things? Do you really want to knit all of those things over and over and over again? Yeah, you can knit different things and use the yarn for different things, but it will give you an idea of whether you like knitting small items or large items, how much yarn you use for each one, what style of yarn you like knitting with. All of those little things will just really help you. So that's the first basic thing. What were the last 5 things I knitted? Full stop. If you can remember, put them in the comments. I'd love to find out. Just stick that in there. What were the last 5 knitting projects that you knitted? So for me, especially at the moment, because I'm preparing patterns and new kits for the summer, I'm knitting for the business. So my last 5 knitting projects were bits for the summer, which I can't really share with you yet. That's been 3 projects. And of course, I knitted the knit along blankets. And before that, I knitted, let me think, what was my, oh, yes, I know, this mug cozy. I love cables. And if I don't have a cable project organized for my business, then I will just pick up some yarn and knit a cable project because I love knitting cables. Takes that a little bit longer. And the thing about cables is that it's a plodding knit rather than a speed knit. And it's that interest. It's every few rows, just make sure you take note and do that interesting thing with your yarn. And it feels lovely as I'm knitting it. So I really like just to stick a cable project in occasionally, just to test out a style of cable like that. I was thinking, how do you do a 5-strand cable? Let me just work it out and figure it and see whether it works like I think it does. And right at the beginning, I made mistakes and I thought, that's not gone right. But I had to just, oh, yeah, that makes more sense. So this kind of thing is always usually in my last 5 projects. And this kind of thing is worsted yarn. It's a single ball that I just had in my stash. So I love diving into my stash for single balls of yarn just to knit something because I feel like it. So let me know if you can think and you can remember what were your last 5 knitting projects. And if you're watching the replay, let me know as well. I'd love to know in the comments. And again, if you're, like I said, I'm going to put all of this over on the Academy website so you can go and find it. And if you're over there, fill in your worksheet, share it on Instagram if you like. There you go. That would really, really just kind of boost everyone else and kind of go, oh, I should be doing that too, because it can be a big help. So you say, actually, I've forgotten. I don't like knitting cardigans. I knitted that in January. And oh, it took so much hassle. I hated doing all the seams. I've either got to find a whole new way of knitting cardigans or just give up knitting cardigans altogether. So that kind of thing can really, really help. Becca has knitted 5 things recently: baby rattle, blanket, baby jumper, and more baby blankets. There's a theme going on there. Cozy, lovely. Knitting baby items is lovely, especially small items like a baby jumper. If you've never knitted large items like jumpers before, it's a great way to start knitting that kind of thing because you get all the shaping techniques in there, the seaming, the picking up stitches maybe for the front band and the collar, and all of a sudden you've done all those techniques on a smaller item so it doesn't take as long and it feels more doable to move that up into doing it with a larger sized similar item. So if you've never knitted a jumper before, that's a good tip. See if you want to knit one for a baby or a toddler. That's fabulous, Becca. I love that little list. So what's the next thing? Just think about what you've knitted last. And of course, what are we doing? We're talking about yarn declutter. So which yarns did you use for those things? Why did you pick those yarns? Can you remember? Has it worked for you? Or did you knit it and go, oh, I hate the feel of this? Was it the fibre? Was it the thickness? Was it the way that it was spun? What was it? Did it keep breaking up? If you were knitting with cotton, did it keep tearing? Was it the quality of the yarn, the fibre, the thickness? All that kind of thing could really, really make a difference for you as you then move on to decluttering and you kind of go, that was the kind of yarn that I knitted with recently. I'd completely forgotten. I really need to move it out of my stash. Or you go, actually, I knitted with that recently. I'm definitely keeping with it. And I'm definitely knitting more with it because I love knitting it so much. So all of those little things, you'll spark that now. And when it comes to decluttering, it will feel so much easier. So Kim has said the last few things she knitted: Christmas stocking and Christmas bauble. Yes. Brilliant. Brilliant. Anything else recently? Because that was 3 months ago. Nothing wrong with knitting Christmas now. Or did you knit Christmas stuff now? More Easter eggs. 2 hats. Oh, wow, Kim, you have been busy. Fabulous. Karen has knitted cozy socks and Ross hats. Is that the kind of hat that Ross wears in Friends? Kind of trying to think what Ross used to wear as a hat in Friends. You've lost me there. I used to watch Friends, and actually, because I just was playing, I was shopping for something, and I needed something in the background just to keep me constant and know what time it was. So I put Friends on Netflix, so I knew I had 20 minutes to shop for this thing on my phone. And I switched on a Friends, so I actually had one on yesterday. Tracy, she was knitting in the last 5 projects. Here we go. Matching baby hat and cardigan, booties, baby booties, men's scarf and ladies' hat about 2 months ago. And you want your mojo to really start knitting up again, don't you? I should do a video about what to do. Now, I tell you which video would help you. There's a planning your knitting playlist over on the channel page. You want inspiration for what to knit next, and I think it's called What to Knit Next. That could really help you because I got 7 inspirations of where you can find something that you want to knit. Yeah, you don't want a whole plethora of stuff, but there will be some sparks in that, and you'll go, those are my next 3 projects. It could well be that easy. And like I said, going through this yarn declutter could really help too, because just finding that yarn and you go, I so want to knit with that. Please, please, please. You'll be so excited about knitting with yarn that you find that it could be enough. So Lachelle Farmer is knitting headbands. Cool. And Karen, oh, Ross is a designer. Right, that makes sense. I didn't think Ross from Friends was creating a lot of was wearing a lot of hats in Friends. That makes, yes, okay. Okay, Karen. A Smell Great Guy is his YouTube channel. Never come across him before. I will have a look. Let me write that down. Is he is that a knitting channel? Smell Great Guy. That's a weird name for a channel. That is his channel name. Okay. I will go and look him up later. Oh dear. That's cool. We need, there are men in the knitting. There are more men now in the knitting community than there were 20 odd years ago. So I'm really thrilled. Right. So let me know. We need to find out which yarn you like knitting with. This is the next question on here. Which yarn did you like knitting with? Let us know so we can inspire each other. Which yarn have you liked knitting with? Now, you know me, at the moment, I'm using yarn that a lot of other people will very well know, a lot of you will know, is on my website. So I'm knitting with Wool and the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton. And I've just started knitting with, I'm not sure it's here on my table in the other room because I've been knitting with it. It's Rowan Summerlight DK. So that will be in the shop with the new kits in the summer. So they have been favourites of mine. This is Drops UK, Drops from, and it is the Nepal range from Drops. Not that keen on it. I knitted a blanket with it and it peels so easily. So yeah, it's okay for a mug cozy or a headband or something, but something that you're going to use and wear constantly is probably not the best. And that's just with experience of having used it and knitted it up into stuff that I use a lot, and then saying, I don't want to use this yarn long term for large items. So, but it's really nice and colourful for small items like this. So, what else have I knitted with recently? Felted tweed, of course, Rowan Felted Tweed DK. That's one of my favourites forever and a best. Forever and a day. Lachelle Farmer has been working with Red Heart yarns. Cool. I mean, this is the fun thing. Different yarns are more or less available as you move around the world. So there will be yarn manufacturers that only really have shops and distribution in particular places around the world. So it's really useful to come on calls like this and find out who's knitting with what where. Becca has been knitting with Colour Wheel by Sirdar. She's got a small stash for baby blankets. Can't get it any longer. Need to find something similar. So what's the fibre in it? That's the thing that can really help you as you substitute yarn one thing for another. And it's testing it out. You can go on websites. It might be yarnsubs.com. I use it occasionally. I just kind of stick it in Google and it comes up. Yarn substitution is a brilliant website, Yarn Subs. You just stick in the details of the yarn that you are knitting with, and it will ping with the details of other yarns that match it closely, with the fibre, with the stitch count, with the ply ply assessment as well, all that kind of thing. So if you want to go and have a look in that, then it will give you a very similar yarn. The other thing is to just experiment. When I find that yarns are just disappearing, you know, out of stock or discontinued, what I do is just find 3 or 4 that are very similar, get a single ball and just kind of go, which one would I prefer? And then usually there will be one that's better than others, and it works. It took me a while. There was a Sirdar yarn I was knitting with, and it was beautiful. I made 3 blankets with it because I got this massive stash of it when it was discontinued. So I've still got some. I've still got a few balls. I designed a load of stuff with it: cowls, hats, berets, all sorts. It's a collection actually over on Ravelry, but don't go on Ravelry this weekend. Let me just stick this in the square in the middle of the video. Ravelry's had a problem since last year when they updated the website. They updated the website so that there were lots of moving objects, flashes, just the way the colours moved on the back of the background of the site. And it meant that it triggered migraines, and 6 seizures are known just in one small survey. I get migraines. I also have seizures because I have epilepsy. And this weekend, there's a protest. We're all logging out of Ravelry. So just don't go on Ravelry this weekend. But if you're watching this in the future, then I do have a few patterns over on Ravelry, and they're also actually over on the Academy website with the yarn that I loved really, really much, very much from Sirdar. But I had to replace it with something, so it took a while. But going through that process of picking a ball occasionally and saying that's a nice ball, would it match it? I did find one eventually. So it's just a process, and substituting yarn isn't the easiest thing. Wherever possible, I will say use the yarn that's stipulated by the designer. I've done so many things. I have done my best to substitute yarn. With the experience that I have, it is possible, but it's rare that it will match exactly and very brilliantly. So it's a struggle. I say use what the designer suggests. Really, really do. Some of my early patterns, some of my basic patterns, then I say knit with worsted, knit with chunky, knit with DK yarn. And it's not something that is desperately important to find the right size of something. It's a hat for an adult. It will knit up to the right size. Or it's a baby blanket. Guess what? If it's an inch smaller, it doesn't matter. The baby is not going to get a tape measure out and say, that's not good enough. It'll be fine. But yes, so things that you want to be a specific size and a specific weight, then I would say go and use the yarn that the designer said. So we're talking about substitution there. So Kaz, hi there Kaz. You're knitting the corner to corner, would like to knit socks, but you can't. Yeah, I'm not a great sock knitter. I must say I've never knitted socks in my life. I've knitted gloves. That's the most complicated thing that I've found that I've knitted, but I've never had this great desire calling me to knit some socks. Just not something. I buy socks and I wear socks, but there's nothing calling me to knit socks. I tell you which sock I would love to knit, and I will probably do this at some point, a Christmas stocking. Watch out. The baby blanket you knitted, have you got a site for it? Yes, go and find it. It is currently over here. Go and find the baby knitting over there. shop.knitwithhannah.co.uk. There it is. It's part the corner to corner blanket is there as a kit, as a pattern, and there are 3 other baby blankets with it as well. So do what you like, find whatever you like, and I can stick it in the post. This weekend post is obviously delayed. So we're hoping that we've got 2 parcels need to go out. We're hoping we can get to the post office today. I hope we don't miss it. Like I said, Nick's at the optician, so but post will be collected Tuesday. The postman isn't collecting today. Actually, if you ever order something from the post, from us through the post, just be aware they're like 2 days a week. It's erratic. There are 2 days a week, usually at the moment when the postman doesn't come. It's just how it is at the moment because there are fewer postmen with self-isolation, etc., etc. So it's just taking that. Possibly it might take that extra day before it's collected from us. And Nick is starting a new job on Tuesday. Yes, which means that I can't just say to him, "Take it to the post office, would you?" It has to be collected because I can't go to the post office myself. So yeah, it's getting there, and you're getting it within 5 days. That's what you pay for. So yeah, order anything from the shop, you will get it. Okay, right, back to the yarn declutter. Right, we've talked yarn substitution. We're talking about which yarn do you love knitting with. Tube socks only. Oh, that sounds like fun. Ooh. I know I would like to start knitting toe-up socks at some point, and that's probably how I will create a Christmas stocking. And if you've never knitted socks before, like I haven't, wouldn't it be easier if you start with chunky yarn and big needles? Very likely. So that's my decision. I'm going to start with a big one. Oh dear. So the other thing I would love you to do before you really dive into the first week's tasks. Okay. Where is your yarn? And I hope that isn't too difficult for you to answer. I've done the yarn declutter for a good few years now. Started it in 2018. So it's 2018, 19, 20. This is the 4th year. So the return I've had when I've asked that question can be quite funny sometimes. Oh, I've got 5 boxes of it in my loft. Well, how can you use it if it's in your loft? You know, it's just all over the place. 3 different places around the house. I'm hiding it here because I didn't want my husband to know I bought it. All that sort of thing. And someone I knew hid it in the boot of her car. And she just went out and got some if you needed it. All right. Okay. So there's just little things dotted around the house that you might have just forgotten. I was knitting that when I was watching TV, and I forgot that I just put it behind the sofa, and I started another project, and literally I'd forgotten it was there. That kind of thing. Just walk around the house with your scanning eyes on. Where is my knitting? Where's my yarn? Really be focused for 10 minutes as you walk around the house, and you'll find it and you'll remember where it is. So it could be under the bed, it could be under the spare room bed, it could be in the corner so that nobody notices it. And it could also be in the naughty corner because it's a work in progress and it's gone completely wrong. I'll use that word. So just realize that it will be in different places. Is it in your car? Because you knit when you're waiting to pick the children up from school. Is it in your car because when someone else is driving, you sit there and knit? All that sort of thing. Just put your shield on. Don't talk to me about anything else. I'm looking for my knitting. Okay. So bring it all together. That's what we're doing this week. Remember where it is and write down where it is as well. If you don't want to bring it all together yet and you don't want to sort it, just write down on a list where it all is. So here we go. Lachelle has it in her bedroom. Okay. Becca has 4 boxes on a shelf, an ottoman, and a bag in the wardrobe. You're hiding it, aren't you? Kaz has got the knitting yarn in a Thornton bag and a big tab knitting bag. Brilliant. Kim, most of it is in a chest of drawers. Yes, I've got a chest of drawers where I've got lots of knitted samples. It's really useful storage space, actually. The rest is in between 2 chairs in the living room. And it can just pile up there because people don't notice that it's getting bigger. Tracy has it in a spare room under the stairs and bits in the living room. Well, at least you know where it is. That's a great start. Really is a great start. And then we can bring it together and you can say, I didn't realize how much this 5 different collections from around the house actually makes. Good. I like that you're so focused and you know where it is. At least that is organized. All right. Just, yeah, this is something that I wrote down. I've got a list here of what we need to talk about today. The thing is, you don't want to go and buy more stuff. It's like if you've got DVDs and you've still got a working DVD player, you don't go and then buy it to stream it on Amazon when you've already got it in the cupboard. So it's that kind of thing. It's, oh, flip, I've just gone and bought a load of yarn, but I got exactly the same thing sat in the cupboard and I'd completely forgotten it. So you just need to be reminded of what you've got and where it is on a regular basis, and then it's a lot easier. So for me, currently I've got a room next door and I've got a box of general knitting yarn that I basically don't use in the business. It's stuff that I had before I started storing and selling yarn on a bigger scale. So it's little bits, but it's not a lot. And most of that I will probably either donate when we can. That's the big problem. That room has got quite a few boxes of stuff that either needs to go to the recycling tip or it needs to go and be donated. But at the moment, we just haven't got that option, and it's just been piling up over the last year. So some of that yarn will go there too. And otherwise, I have these shelves, which we're replacing actually. This will be exciting. It may well happen as we're doing the yarn declutter. All of a sudden, we'll have new storage stuff sitting here, new bookcase. I'm excited about that. And also, I've got yarn storage in a blanket box there, and that is most of the Wool and the Gang yarn over there and most of the Rowan yarn here. So it should all fit on the new bookcase. That's the intention, and that's why I've ordered such a large one. You are going to love it. And I will record a video just showing you all the new storage I've got in the studio, and I hope you will like that video. So what else have we got? Karen's got it in bins and baskets in the bedroom and living room. Right. Well, it's sorted. It's just not in random bags all over the place. You know where it is. That's a good start. Very good start. The other thing is, do you take yarn out with you? I mean, I've already said the car, but have you got bags by the front door? Because you've forgotten what it's like to leave the house and go out with your knitting. You know, we haven't really left the house to sit in a coffee shop and do knitting, or to go around your mum's and do knitting or anything like that in the last year. Is there something sat there and you've forgotten it? That is a distinct possibility. My let's leave the house area is just kind of sat there stagnating for the last year. It needs a good tidy up. And it just, you don't know what might be there. If you've, again, just like me, if we're about to leave the house area has stagnated, then possibly you've got stuff there that just needs to come out, and then you can just sort through it and see what's ready. Karen's got donations by the front door. Yeah. Oh, it's so tough at the moment. I struggle just realizing I think this house is gonna look completely different once charity shops open up again, because all of a sudden, this place will look so different, it will feel different. There's an interesting video I watched this week on YouTube. It's actually quite scary, so switch off the sound if you don't like it. It's about decluttering, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna tell you a horror story or anything, but it's just remembering when you walk around the house, all the different messages, especially as without, blanketing everybody with the same brush. It is very simply women tend to have this tendency more than men. I know some men have it too, because some of my friends have got husbands who are very, very aware of this stuff too. Um, and it's you walk around the house and you're kind of getting little messages from the things around you going, you need to pick me up. You need to move me into the drawer. You need to tidy me up. You need to wash me. Your laundry, the plate that you use for breakfast, all that sort of thing. Why am I in the dishwasher? All of those little messages that you're getting every day as you walk around the house. Didn't need to know that, but it just is so, so true. And that yarn is talking to you as well. Why haven't you knitted with me? You spent so much money on me. I'm supposed to be blossoming. But just think about that too. You know, I do love the idea that when you buy yarn, you're giving it a journey. You're giving it an experience. I'm not gonna, say all of a sudden this yarn has got a voice and a personality all its own. But I do feel that this thing that we're knitting up into an object, into an item that we can use, you're then giving it life. So just think about that too as you're looking at all of your yarn. I bought this. I wanted to do something with it. So either let someone else do something with it or say, I'm going to use it. And that will make such a big difference. Um, the only other thing I would say, and this may be very few of you, is do you have knitting yarn for knitting machines? And that can be stored differently and it can be used differently. You could roll it up into balls if you're very aware, if you've still got the information about which type of yarn it is. You could use it for hand knitting. I would suggest you get a yarn winder and you create, say, 100-gram balls of it, because on a spool, it can be quite a lot of yarn. If you want to use it for hand knitting, then just create balls of it and then use it separately. But all those different things, they are relevant. So that knitting yarn can be used just as easily as the balls of yarn that you find and the skeins of yarn that you find. We are going to take this slowly. When I did this for the first time 3 years ago, like I said, this is the 4th year we've done the yarn declutter. It was kind of almost unanimous. No way do I want to do this in one weekend. It's going to be too overwhelming. And I totally agree. Like with Marie Kondo, she says, let's do the easy stuff first. Let's do the utensils in the kitchen. You're not going to be so attached to it. But as knitters, we get attached to yarn. And as knitters, we get even more attached to when we've put time, effort, experience, and love into knitting something and it's halfway knitted. So we're doing the works in progress last. We're doing the yarn once we've done all of the practical stuff, like this week's task. This is all the prep stuff, but this week's task is working out how you want to store it. There's a lot more information on that in the first email, and that went out this morning. If you haven't signed up, I will be resending that to anyone who hasn't signed up I'll send it out Monday morning. So you've got the whole day, and it's bank holiday here in the UK. So you've got the whole bank holiday if you're here in the UK to go through that first task, and then we meet up on the Tuesday and we talk more about it. But yes, we're talking about storage this week. Like I said, Marie Kondo says, let's do the emotional stuff once we've done the practical stuff. What's practical about yarn? It's figuring out how you want to store it. And that can include how you want to store your needles as well, and that sort of thing. So let's go through practical stuff, and then we get emotional afterwards. Oh dear. Oh, this is interesting. Kim says, not used any bags because of not going out, and they are just collecting dust. Yeah, that's a very good point. I was very wary of using. Do you like this? I got this for Christmas from my dear friend. It's a wash bag, but I've got small knitting projects occasionally, and I use this for it now. I was very, very wary when I started knitting of using. Not when I started knitting. When I started leaving the house with my knitting, like in my late 20s, of using zipped bags. But actually, knowing more about knitting, I can really push it down and then zip it up. So zipped bags with a flap and a popper, something like that, can be really, really helpful to prevent dust. So that could even be, do I actually want to either make, find, buy, or prioritize using bags which will prevent dust with the storage? That can be something. We'll talk more about that on Tuesday. Yes, the Hogwarts bag is cute, isn't it? Hi, Mary. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so if you've joined late, then this is up for a replay. Just rewatch it if you want to while you're knitting. Get all the juicy details of what we're doing with the prep week, with the intro week of this yarn declutter. So if you haven't signed up, then go and find in the description of this video yarn declutter. It's so simple to sign up. knitwithhannah.co.uk/declutter. So simple. And what else I can offer you is, like I said, all of the information, the worksheets that you're going to get for the next few weeks. And I mean, we're not at school. I'm not marking your homework or anything. These are just here to help you go through the tasks, because you read an email and it can really just go over your head. But if you download these, it can actually say, I'm committed to this. I've got a lot of yarn stash and I need to sort it out. So these worksheets will help you, even if you just read them rather than writing the stuff down. If you have it next to you, you'll know the tasks that you can take each day, and it's not going to be really overwhelming when you kind of go, I don't know what I'm doing. I've got all this yarn. I don't know how to sort it out. So one task at a time. That's all I'm suggesting you do. And you answer some of the questions here in the comments as well, so I've got you thinking about it to start with. But if you want all of that, the worksheets, I will upload the videos there as well, and all the text that comes with the emails just to get you going, then that will get you started, and that is at academy.knitwithhannah.co.uk/yarn-declutter. That is going to get you started with it all in one place. If you'd like that, then it's just £5 I'm asking, just so I can host it in one place and you'll have access to everything. There you go. That's the yarn declutter all in one place, ready for you to go and take a look every week with all of the new lessons. And I'll be here live every week. It's already scheduled. Go and register for it and get the reminder. We're here Tuesday morning, 10:45, I think. I can double check that. When are my lives scheduled for? Week 1 is, I can't see the time. I'm pretty sure it's 10:45. If you go and have a look at it, you'll find it. Let me get you the live stream link. There you go. So that's the YouTube link for Tuesday. Okie dokie. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It was a bit impromptu, but I'm surprised so many of you found me and appeared. It's been lovely chatting about the first tasks in this yarn declutter. It's see if you can remember your last 5 knitting projects. Go and get them. And the other thing you can do is when you're knitting, write them down. I've even got planning books over on the website if you want to have a look, notebooks where you can actually write down what you've been knitting. And that's a great way to say, I like knitting with this yarn, I don't like knitting with that yarn. So those notebooks could be really helpful as you go through this. But it will help you in the future when you say, "God, what was that yarn? I knitted that cardigan and I can't remember." You can go back to your notebook and remember and find out all in one place. Um, Hello from Miami, Christine. My first time here, but I will be joining you. Brilliant. Have you signed up for the Yarn Declutter? Go and do that. And love to see you and everyone else here on Tuesday as well. We will be here 10:45, I think, on Tuesday. And all the emails are going out on Saturdays. And like I said, I will resend the task for this week on Monday. Thank you so much for joining me. Lovely to see you, Kim, Tracy, Kaz, Becca, Lachelle, Mary, Joe. Thank you very much for all being here. And yeah, happy knitting. Have a great weekend.